So in the war arc, it came down to Naruto pretty much being the deciding factor of winning it from the start all the way to the end. But what if we replace Naruto with Sasuke, EMS Sasuke, to be correct, and all the points leading up to the battle with Obito to see if Sasuke be able to do the same thing as Naruto. Now obviously Sasuke is going to make 15 or 10 clones to go to each company. We're just going to be going over each fight that Naruto participated in, clone or not, but just place Sasuke there in that same position and seeing if he will be able to beat them and be the savior of the ninja world. Please, if you're new to the channel, drop a like on the video. It'll really help me out. Also, watching the video to the end will also help me out, and subscribing to help us hit our 1,000 sub goal. That being said, let's get into the video. Now the EMS Sasuke we're going to be using is the EMS right after the battle with Itachi. I feel like that's a fair place to place him because it's not him actually instantly getting the EMS, but it is also not him being at the most strongest, because Casey and Naruto isn't the strongest that he was in that moment fighting all these characters. He was just a clone. Most of the characters are going to be fighting or picking, so it'll be fair just to use the EMS Sasuke before he gets to the war, because we know that he gets gradually stronger the more the war goes on, the more he fights and the more he uses his Mangekyo Sharingan after newly putting Itachi's eyes in his eyeball sockets. Now scaling EMS Sasuke to figure out where he lands before we get into matching him up with all these characters, we already know that he's roughly around the level of Itachi, if not over by this point, or at least equal, because we even see in some mediums that it says that Itachi and Sasuke are now being seen as equals on the equal front, or even Sasuke has the potential now receiving EMS to surpass Itachi with his ocular powers and with his ninjutsu powers as well, etc, etc. But I don't feel like the Kabuto fight is a good representation to see how strong Sasuke is. We know that he was fighting with Itachi pretty closely, but quite frankly Itachi was kind of leading that fight, with using Izanami, as well as him just knowing how to combat Kabuto and making the plan, and Sasuke was kind of getting protected. And I don't really think this is a lack of him being weaker than Itachi. I think that since Itachi was kind of an Edo Tensei, certain things Itachi could do that Sasuke couldn't. Like for instance, Itachi had near infinite chakra being an Edo Tensei, as well as having an Edo Tensei body, so you could re-heal and not really have to worry about damage. We see Itachi literally get chopped in half, and it's like no biggie because he's way more useful in these type of situations, not really having the fear of dying. But scaling Sasuke off of being equal to Itachi, we saw that Itachi newly Edo Tensei or revived, he was able to go pretty handily with the base B and just his 3-Tomomi Sharingan without activating the Mangekyo Sharingan. And even Casey and Naruto said if you get hit with the Madarasu or Tsukuyomi, you're done right there in that fight, knowing how strong base B is. And right before this, base B was pretty much equal to a V1 Raikage, and then after that, when Raikage ended up going V2 because his hair flared up, so you can at least allude to him being in V2, base B was still able to overpower the Raikage's Lariat while B was still in base. Now you could say that he was mentally up here because right before this he tried to do a Lariat on the Raikage. Raikage was just in V1 and the Raikage kind of just like mushed him out of the way. But after Raikage and him reminiscing about memories and they tried again and testing each other's Lariat, Raikage got beat by B in base. So you could say he was mentally amped here, or you could say B was holding that before. But either way you slice the pie, he ended up beating Raikage's V2 Lariat. But right after this we see Raikage kind of go V2, and then B freaks out and says, oh, he's really finna kill Naruto in KCM1. And this is before all the clones that Naruto sent out. And Itachi in just 3-Tomomi Sharingan was able to pretty decently be able to go against this V1B. And Sasuke fought B before as Tekka Sasuke before he got EMS and all this other stuff, and B said that Sasuke was the strongest person that he ever fought, and we've known that B and him have fought before. So I would also say that he's probably talking about overall, not just like obviously speed and stuff like that, but overall. And we know that MS Sasuke was able to go handle against the Raikage in the 5 Kage Summit with his MS and his Susanoo still having effects on his body. So this Sasuke will be even more better equipped and have more control over the Amaterasu, and it would just be a whole better Sasuke that fought the Raikage in the 5 Kage Summit. And we already know that he was close to actually doing significant damage to the Raikage if Guard didn't step in. And one more thing I just want to point out is that Edo Itachi was able to swap hands with the Casey and Naruto. Now people don't like breaking up this feat because Casey and Naruto was just talking. This Casey and Naruto had clones sent out as well, and this Casey and Naruto most likely wasn't going his full top speed, but it is still a good feat to bring up given that Casey and Naruto did say right before or right during the fight with Nagato that he's way stronger than the Sage Naruto that fought Pain, even saying that while having his clones sent out and just being probably weaker than his base self or his regular self with all his clones in his body, and still consider himself way stronger than the Sage Bro that fought Pain. So it is still good to bring up that Casey and Naruto and Itachi did have this small bout, because even if he's not at match speed, he's still stronger than any Naruto Naruto that we've seen before are faster than any Naruto that we've seen before this. Even the Sage Mode Naruto that's always been rumored to be equal with the Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke that was at the 5 Kage Summit. Now the first battle up is going to be Sasuke versus the 4th Raikage, and I'm pretty sure that people would agree this will just be a even more one-sided fight, because we always have to remember that the Susanoo during the 5 Kage Summit, when Sasuke used it, it was already hurting his body. It wasn't just like something that he could just use for a long time. It was hurting his body and having side effects, but now Sasuke can pretty much used it at the expense of how much chakra he has, or until he runs out of chakra, etc, etc. Not only that, he has way more control over the Susanoo flames. He finally has the Susanoo era, and we already saw that he was able to keep up with the Raikage, not outright speed him, but he was able to break through his cloak as well as dodge some of his attacks. So I don't see why that wouldn't be the case, that he could do it here, especially having an even better Mangekyo Sharingan, increasing his stats as well. And even if you say that base Raikage or V2 Raikage beats Sasuke while they're in base, or while Sasuke doesn't have Susanoo activated, once he activates the Susanoo, I don't see Raikage having enough destructive power to break through the Susanoo and to be able to like stop Sasuke. And it just takes one Amaterasu to hit Raikage, and we saw that unless he wants to cut off a leg or another leg, or he couldn't cut off another arm with another arm, it'll probably just take him out the fight or potentially even kill him. So I'm pretty sure that this EMS Sasuke beats the Raikage at this point. Now next, so we have Itachi and Nagato. Now just assuming that Itachi just stayed Edo Tensei, he would have to anyways because Naruto is in there with the crew. So the thing is, in base to base or without their Susanoo active, I do believe that Sasuke will most likely be able to go tandem with Itachi. Like, it wouldn't be no problem for Sasuke to be able to fight Itachi. Itachi being the Edo, he has a lot more things going for him. For example, he can't just be killed by hitting him with like a Shidori or his sword. And not only that, Sasuke doesn't have infinite or near infinite chakra like the reanimations do, so it wouldn't be possible for him to out battle Itachi when it comes to stamina. Eventually Sasuke would end up running out of chakra eventually. And not only that, we know that Genjutsu wouldn't be in play here, because Sasuke, just with his base Sharingan back when he fought as heavy, Sasuke was able to break out of the Tsukuyomi, so that wouldn't be a play here. One thing that just will be a play here is just their Susanoo, because we know that Itachi has the Totsuka blade as well as the Yaramir. So coming down to just Susanoo and Itachi being the Edo, I feel like it would lean towards more of Itachi, given for all the extracurricular things that he has, like the Yaramir and the Totsuka blade, and just being the Edo. But if Itachi was alive, you could say that Sasuke would win this battle, but it just wouldn't be likely for Sasuke to beat a Edo. Now, assuming that he still has B there going against Nagato, it would just be even worse than it was in the beginning, because we saw that Amaterasu didn't work against Edo Nagato. He just absorbed it, and all of that, he was able to stop the base B and even stop B using his V2 and just absorb that chakra. So anything that Sasuke would do to Nagato wouldn't work. And assuming that Itachi was still under control here, they would just pretty much die from getting their souls ripped out, or Sasuke getting his soul ripped out, as well as B getting his soul ripped out, whatever the case may be. But I just don't see Sasuke being much of anything different from KC1 Naruto here, if not probably a little bit worse in every instance. Now, when I was talking about Nagato earlier, I didn't bring up Genjutsu. It kind of slipped my mind, but one of the things that would kind of deter me from not using Genjutsu, or saying that Sasuke would be able to place Nagato under Genjutsu, is because of the potential that it wouldn't work. Now, we never seen a Rinnegan get placed under a Genjutsu other than the Frog Son from Jiraiya, but you could say that was more from them being able to hear the song and not per se them being put under Genjutsu by ocular powers or by the eyes. But a Genjutsu is a Genjutsu, but I think those are two different type of categories of Genjutsu. But either way you slice a pie, a funny thing is that we saw that Madara, with his Mangekyo Sharingan active, was able to put the Raikage under a Genjutsu, and all the Raikage kind of did was just say, I fell victim to the Sharingan, and then after that he was okay. So assuming that a person with the Rinnegan would have a little bit more resistance than the Raikage, I would assume they would. And assuming that Madara's Genjutsu with his Mangekyo Sharingan active is over Sasuke's, given that he said he was the only shinobi to ever be able to see through the wood style that Hashirama uses. So I would say that his Genjutsu, or his analyzing with the Sharingan and just overall potentness with the Sharingan, is over Sasuke's at this point. I don't think that's an argument. I do believe that it would kind of be a failed point to say that Sasuke Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan Genjutsu would do much against Nagato, but if it did, that is a winning condition. But I just doubt that the Rinnegan would just be able to just be taken out completely by the Mangekyo Sharingan from Sasuke, assuming that they have resistance to the Genjutsu. But there's not really much median suggesting that he does have resistance, but the Rinnegan being the upper level of the Sharingan, you could imply that it does, because we never see nobody try to put the Rinnegan under a Genjutsu, because I think it kind of makes sense not to, given that it's literally the evolution of the Sharingan, the Mangekyo Sharingan to be exact. But if you say that the Rinnegan doesn't have any deterrence to Mangekyo Sharingan Genjutsu, then that is also a winning condition for Sasuke to beat Nagato. I just wanted to break it up here since I didn't break it up back then. So getting into the third Raikage, this one is actually a little bit weird, because you could definitely say that the third Raikage may not be faster than the Raikage, but he's definitely more durable, right? And we saw that Chidori from Sasuke from the 5 Kage Summit was able to break through the cloak of the 4th Raikage, but a Rasen Shuriken from KCM1 Naruto was not able to do nothing to the 3rd. So now the one thing working here for Sasuke is just him being able to go against a faster version or a faster Raikage, because we know that the 4th is faster than the 3rd. I'm pretty sure that's implied with KCM1 Naruto being able to, well, a clone of KCM1 Naruto being able to pretty handily get him to get hit by the Rasen Shuriken with not too much difficulty. But it's just the fact that Sasuke wouldn't have much that could damage the Raikage except for the arrow or except for Amaterasu. Now, assuming that the arrow will be enough to keep him down long enough to get sealed, then you could say he wins the fight. But I do believe that Amaterasu would just kind of continuously keep burning his reanimated body and then he gets sealed. But that's if he's able to make it land, but that would really be the only winning conditions. His Chidori wouldn't be able to pierce through the cloak because it's even more resilient than the 4th. I'm pretty sure that everybody can agree to that, because a Rasen Shuriken from KCO and Naruto didn't do anything. He just got back up. So I do believe that he is more resilient than the 4th. It just comes down to Sasuke being more able to handle a faster Raikage and eventually end up getting his Amaterasu to hit. We saw that he could put it on his Susanoo. We saw that he could throw it now. Like, he could do a lot more with his Amaterasu. So I do believe that that would be enough to take down the 3rd eventually. But his spirit being in a conversation would kind of probably pose a problem. But then again, like I said earlier, he can put Susanoo flames or he can put Amaterasu on his Susanoo. So if Raikage tried to thrust his Susanoo, he could just kind of put Amaterasu flames on it and then they innately hit him. And you know, the fight's pretty much over, because those flames don't go out no matter how strong your cloak is. They just will continuously burn, right? So yeah, Sasuke will win in the long run. Now, going against the Jinchuriki as well as Obito would not be too hard in the beginning for Sasuke. Him having the Susanoo as well as Killer being there with the 8 Tails transformation. The Biju in their base, like the Jinchuriki in their base, would not be too much of a problem. We saw that KCM1 Naruto was able to go a little bit okay with them with the help of B. The one problem is once they end up going to their transformations, that's when the fight kind of takes a turn. I don't see Sasuke really being able to do much there. We saw that it took a KCM2 Naruto to end up teleporting all the Biju or moving all the Biju bombs away, and we saw that Naruto was literally about to get, you know, captured if it wasn't for Guy Kakashi intervening and saving him. Assuming that that's the case here, then okay, keep going. Sasuke won't get an amp like KCM2. And if you think that EMS Sasuke is on KCM2 level, that's just not the case, at least not at this point before him going to the war. So it would definitely not be able to move all the Biju away. He'll pretty much get, well, everybody there would pretty much get deleted unless, you know, Guy goes 8th gate or Kakashi tries to combo them away. Either he slices the pie. I just don't see Sasuke have anything to do against, you know, all those tail beasts. Like, it wouldn't really be nothing he could do. Now, assuming for the Amaterasu, one of the biggest things about this is that all the Jinchuriki are visually linked. So if they're all watching Sasuke and knowing what's going on, they would be able to see the Amaterasu coming and potentially move out the way. We saw that they was pretty handily able to get some hits in on KCM1 Naruto. And not only that, we saw that the 4th Mizukage was able to use his Mirror Jutsu to throw his attack right back at Naruto, so he can do the same thing to the arrow or to the Amaterasu if need be. So I just feel like Sasuke wouldn't be able to do much here. Like, it wouldn't be no different from what Naruto was able to do, if you know what I mean. And taking into consideration that Obito is there as well. Now, one of the big major things from all this would be their Genjutsu that Sasuke could use, but then again, they both, all of them have Sharingan as well as a Rinnegan, so the Genjutsu on them wouldn't be the case. Not to mention all their other amps that they get, like Han having Boil Release as well as the 4th Mizukage having his Kuro Touch as well, that'll just bounce somebody that won't be able to move, and we saw that Naruto couldn't do much against it as well. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that Sasuke wouldn't be able to beat all the Jinchuriki plus Obito here, But then again, this is a Sasuke before entering the war, but even still, because we saw that, you know, Naruto after mastering KCM2 and finally be able to use it even better, still couldn't do much against Obito with the help of Kakashi and Guy. So Sasuke here with EMS not being on the same level as KCM2 Naruto until he gets to the war later down the road, it would just be even worse. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and made it all the way to the end. If you like this video, you'll most likely like my other content, so give that a look. Subscribe, like, comment down below. We out. Love you, man.